There is a chapter in the Bible that the devil hates more than anything else. A chapter that he does not like believers knowing. And that chapter is Revelation chapter 20. To illustrate this, I would like to tell you the testimony of a wonderful minister from the United Kingdom. David Pawson once said that Revelation chapter 20 is the part of the Bible that Satan hates the most. He stated that he knows this from personal experience. He stated that early in his ministry, when he first made his first study tape series about the book of Revelation, he made a 7-minute segment of the series focused on Revelation chapter 20, which details the destruction of Satan and how he will be thrown out of this world and locked up and sealed so that he can deceive the nations no longer. He stated he had multiple tapes on the book of Revelation, but in his office every 2 weeks or so, his publisher would receive a tape sent back to them by customers because that specific 7-minute segment was not working. It never happened to any other part of the tape except to this one specific part. Although the tape was sent out in perfect working condition, by the time it reached the people who ordered it, that 7-minute section focusing on the revelation was damaged. It happened in his ministry for over 35 years. The devil did not want people to know the truth in Revelation chapter 20. He described that one family in the United Kingdom ordered the whole series of his teaching, and they played it and listened to it as a family. And when they got to that specific 7-minute segment where he was describing the destruction of Satan, they could not hear what he was saying. There was a loud, foreign voice shouting, and they could barely hear his voice in the background of the foreign voice that was speaking in another language, but they could not understand what he was saying. He said in other instances that 7-minute segment was wiped out clean completely when the customers received it. Imagine this happening for over 35 years. He then went on to say he was teaching some pastors, and he mentioned this abnormal occurrence in one of his teachings. And then he went on to say one of the pastors came to him afterwards and said he had a man in his study who was demon-possessed, and he was fighting to release him from the bondage of demon oppression. And whilst all this was happening, he suddenly saw 2 Bibles on the pastor's desk, and the demon-possessed man ran to the Bible and picked them up and tore a page out of each and then proceeded to throw it on the floor. He said that after he had gone and went to look at the Bibles, the pastor saw that that demon-possessed man had torn out Revelation chapter 20. This is the chapter the devil doesn't want us to know about. Revelation chapter 20 verses 1 through 2 says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years." Throughout the scriptures, wherever we find the devil being defeated, it was angels that were instrumental to it. Yes, it is true that the devil was an archangel, but there are different offices in the angelic realm. All angels do not perform the same function. The devil, for instance, was initially designed to offer pure worship to God, while Angel Michael is the Lord of warfare. God does not need to struggle with the devil. An angel is enough to deal with him. In the Revelation of John, he saw an angel who was powerful enough to handle the devil. The angel had the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. He captured the devil, bound him, and threw him into the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. Have you ever imagined that the devil can be captured and bound by another angel? It was needless to record that the devil resisted that angel that bound him. This is not a matter of having to struggle with the devil. The angel had power over him and was assigned by God for that function. The devil must be bound and cast into a bottomless pit for 1,000 years. Again, I found something astounding here. The mystery of the bottomless pit. Within the 1,000 years that the devil will be bound, he will lack the ability to deceive the nations or to cause any form of evil to happen on earth. All his evil works will be suspended for the period of 1,000 years. At this time, believers will know how it feels to live in absolute peace without the fear of any danger. Then, we will also understand that it is the devil that has been responsible for all the predicaments that has befallen the world ever. There will be nothing like war, sicknesses, and evil occurrences on earth. And for the very first time after the fall of man in the Garden of Eden, the entire world will enjoy absolute peace. Just imagine a world without the devil. Those that are ungodly will have no power over the righteous, because the devil that stirs them up against the righteous is already bound. After the 1,000 years of the devil's bondage and captivity, he will yet again be loosed for a little season before his everlasting judgment is meted out to him. Revelation chapter 20, verses 7 through 8 says, "And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea." It is amazing to know that the devil's initial strategy of deception is the same that will mark his end. He deceived Eve in the Garden of Eden, and after the 1,000 years of his bondage is accomplished, he shall be loosed. The next thing the devil will do after his momentary freedom is to deceive the ungodly nations of the world and gather them together to battle against the Lord and his people. He is a master of deceit, as was demonstrated in the garden and by his deception of multitudes by his puppet, the false prophet, in Revelation chapter 13, verse 14. He gathers the rebellious multitudes together to engage in history's final battle. The devil fought in heaven and lost his battle. He will yet again on earth and lose his battle on the last day. He has a track record of losing when facing God Almighty. Revelation chapter 20, verse 9 says, "And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city. And fire came down from God out of heaven, and devoured them." The devil will gather the nations of the earth together to be defeated just the same way he gathered 1/3 of heaven's angels together against God, only for them to be cast out of heaven and to suffer an eternal affliction at the appointed time. This time will mark the final victory of the saints over the devil. The victory will be won in a grand style. The saints do not need to fight this time around. God would fight for us as fire would proceed out of his mouth to destroy the enemy nations. Finally, the fate of the devil will be determined after the defeat of the enemies of God's people. Revelation chapter 20, verse 10 tells us what would become of the devil and his false prophets, saying, "And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever." Oh, what great joy and peace await the believers! Imagine a world without the devil. To the glory of God, all these will become realities at the appointed time of God. Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 29 says, "The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law." There are a lot of things that God has kept a secret from us. What he didn't keep a secret from us is the end of the devil. He will be cast into the lake of fire.
You are not free of the opposition of the devil. He is always right there to oppose you in the presence of God. Satan doesn't care who you are or for how long you have been a Christian working for God. He will still accuse you. There are times you want to get things done, and then a voice comes to you that you cannot do it. Because you committed this sin last night, or you committed this sin 10 years ago. There are times you decide to move on from your past mistakes, and then the devil brings to your mind all your mistakes and prevents you from moving forward. Many people have been finding it difficult to progress in life because they kept dwelling on their past. The devil caused this. He keeps reminding them of their ugly past, and he makes it become a trauma. There is a Christian quote that says, "If Satan reminds you of your past, remind him of his future.